Get Macy's lowest prices of the season on great fall specials like glamorous diamond pendants and earrings to complete any look, now 60% off. And get ready for cooler nights ahead with 65% off Charter Club damask sheets and bedding, now at Macy's. Plus, get your Macy's order faster when you pick up curbside or in store. Or try same-day delivery powered by DoorDash. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
You've served your country, you're completing your military duty and transitioning back to civilian life, and you've got questions. ConnectingVets.com is waiting to help navigate your return. Find out how to use your GI Bill for education, certifications for today's job market, transitional jobs, and more. ConnectingVets.com even helps the children and family of service members. You served your country with honor, and you deserve the benefits that come with service. Find job and education resources and much more at ConnectingVets.com.
Great call, great game here in the third. Dustin Tokarski and Dylan Cousins, as we said, the big stars tonight as the Sabres get through the lethal Edmonton offensive attack, only surrendering 2, and a much-needed victory as Buffalo gets it done by a 3-2 final. When we come back here to KeyBank Center, we'll get rolling on the postgame. We'll have player reaction from the locker room, Don Granado's postgame comments, Paul Hamilton's take, all coming your way. Final score, Sabres 3, Oilers 2. The postgame show is next. I'm Brian Koziel. This is the Buffalo Sabres Radio Network. All right, welcome back here to KeyBank Center. It's the postgame show. Brian Koziel with you. Sabres victorious 3-2. Edmonton came hard late in the third period. Dustin Tokarski, very good. Sabres getting it done, and a much-needed win here tonight to win for the first time since October 28th. Before we get player reaction, though, let's get the highlights in. And the highlights are brought to you by Jim's Steakhouse, celebrating 40 years of mouth-watering hoagies and chicken finger subs. There was no scoring in the first, so we'll pick it up early second period. And the speed on a breakaway. Anders Bjork getting Buffalo on the board first.
Here's Ceci. He's pickpocketed at the line by Bjork. Bjork in on a breakaway. Scores! Off to the races. And he finishes to give Buffalo the lead.
So the Sabres off and running in the second with a 1-0 advantage. Edmonton, though, coming back with 2 power play goals. We know the Oilers are excellent on the power play. They had 6 chances through the halfway mark of this game. Draisaitl gets 2 of them, one at 4:08, the other at 6:57. Again, both power play goals, and Edmonton with a 2-1 lead. We go now later, though, in the second, and here's where the Dylan Cousins show starts. On a beautiful shot from the circle, he ties the game at 2.
Sabres lose it, get it back again. Cousins trying to split the D. He's in behind. Cousins scores! D.C. Cousins. Sabres have tied the game.
Dylan Cousins on a nice setup from Kajula with a nice shot at 13:56. We got a tie game, 2-2, the score. In the final minute, Hinostroza going in on a breakaway, and Dylan Cousins right behind to put it home.
Minute to go in the period. Nurse down to the corner, has it stolen. Breakaway attempt here, and here we go. Sabres with a chance. Hinostroza, backhand save, rebound, scores! Dylan Cousins!
So Cousins with his second of the period, third of the season. Hinostroza and Pesic assisting at 19-10. A 3-2 Buffalo lead as we go to the third period. Lots of chances for Edmonton down the stretch. Tokarski coming up big, including a couple of monster saves in the final minutes.
Across, Puljujarvi shot stopped by Dustin Tokarski. He fired out to make that save, and Puljujarvi can only wonder what could have been. It's a Sabres 3-2 lead with 5:35 to go. Now McDavid down the left side. McDavid cross ice. One-timer stop. Rebound. Oh, Dustin Tokarski. Are you kidding me? He is unbelievable tonight as he robs Leon Draisaitl of hopes for his third on the night. McDavid, far circle, walks in, pass across. There's an empty net. Oh, my goodness, Dustin Tokarski. Did he get his stick on that one and deflected one? I think he did.
There's 3 big stops from the Sabres netminder in the final minutes, and Buffalo goes on to win it by a score of 3-2. Those saves for Tokarski, we're going to call those our plays of the game tonight. Brought to you by Seneca Sports Lounge. You can bet on Buffalo with Seneca Resorts and Casinos. So Tokarski coming up big down the stretch, 33 saves. Edmonton gets their only goals on the power play, and Buffalo getting it done with a 3-2 victory tonight. So a much-needed win for the Sabres. They get their 6th of the season. We'll update you here on the standings in just one moment as we are expecting to get player reaction from the locker room any moment. But the Buffalo getting their first win since October 28th. Yes, today is November 12th, so it's been a while. Should have probably won last Saturday against Detroit. The rest of the West Coast trip did not go well. They blew a 2-0 lead in Los Angeles. And then, of course, Monday, the regulation loss in Washington, where I thought the Caps were the better team. But now an opportunity to maybe sweep the weekend. The Leafs are also playing tonight, too. So both teams tomorrow will play back-to-backs. The Sabres will have a little less travel. Toronto is playing tonight at home. Again, not a massive travel for them coming from Toronto, but they're playing right now at home in Calgary. And, in fact, that game actually it looks as though it went final as Austin Matthews scored in overtime to give the Leafs a 2-1 victory over the Calgary Flames. So both teams will come in with wins. Toronto beating Calgary and, of course, the Sabres here tonight beating the Edmonton Oilers. Buffalo's win improves them to 6-5-2, now 14 points. They are 5th in the Atlantic Division and are a point behind the Tampa Bay Lightning, who are in 4th, 2 points behind the Detroit Red Wings, who are in 3rd, and 3 points behind the Toronto Maple Leafs, who will be the Sabres' opponent tomorrow night. Let's get some final stats here. We go to the shot totals, and Edmonton finishes with 35 shots, 14 in the third. Buffalo just 4 in the third. They finish with 23. We mentioned the power plays. Edmonton with 6 cracks at it. Their power play is just lethal. They go 2 for 6. Buffalo had 3 tries, 0 of 3. In the nets, Dustin Tokarski, the win, 35 shots, 33 saves. In the nets for Edmonton and taking the loss, Stuart Skinner, 23 shots. He made 20 saves. Your 3 stars tonight, Leon Draisaitl, another solid performance. He now leads the NHL in goals with his 13th and 14th of the season. He's star number 3. Dustin Tokarski, 33 saves, including some monster ones that you just heard in that highlight package. He is star number 2. And Dylan Cousins coming up for Buffalo big tonight with his 2nd and 3rd of the season. 2 goals right at the end of the second period. He is the number 1 star. The attendance tonight, it was announced 8,258. It looked like to my eyes, like it was the biggest one yet this season. And I would expect even more tomorrow with it being a Saturday and it being Toronto in the building. With the Canadian border open again, I'm not expecting it to be to the rafters filled with Leafs fans like we normally have, but I think we'll have some. And I think with it being a Saturday, that's going to help too. The Sabres won tonight too. That can always help for people maybe walking up. But that's what we're going to expect here tomorrow at KeyBank Center, the Sabres and the Leafs. But to me, 2 things here. The Sabres have gotten, I would say, they got very good goaltending from Craig Anderson and Dustin Tokarski in that early span where they went 5-1-1. It was okay. They just hadn't gotten what you'd call outstanding goaltending during the losing skid. But they hadn't gotten much offensively from Dylan Cousins. And that's big for the Sabres tonight. Cousins, to me, such a likable player, such a complete game, willing to throw down, willing to play physical. We know he's a goal scorer. We know he's got a ton of skill. And that shot that tied things up at 2, a real nice shot from the circle. Not only is it a real nice shot, but there are 3 Edmonton Oilers that are in the vicinity that he's creating a little separation from, using his body, using his speed. And I thought that was just a really, really nice shot. Obviously, the second goal, one, you'd say, took a little less skill to do. It was a follow-up on a Hinostroza play, but it's all hustle. And Cousins had to go against McDavid quite a bit tonight, and I thought he did a very good job. Look at 5-on-5, the Sabres didn't surrender a goal. So the key to beating Edmonton, Don't let them get on the power play. Well, the Sabres played with fire with that tonight. Partially, I think, with some help from the officials. I thought some of the calls were maybe a little iffy. But Edmonton got 6 power plays, all of them in the first half of the game. The second half of the game, I'm guessing, because this is just what the NHL officials do, they decide, oh, geez, we've given Edmonton 6 power plays already here. We're going to swallow the whistle a little, and that's why you didn't really see any power plays called in the second half of the game. In fact, they only called 1 the entire second half of the game. 3-2 final. Drake Caggiula is our first player interview. Let's go live downstairs and get reaction.
Kind of into the garage, got the win. What went successful for you, do you think?
We stuck to our game. Didn't panic when we had the lead late in the third. We've had a couple games now where we've kind of blown that lead, just kind of got out of what we do best, and we kind of learned from those mistakes, which is a big piece to this team, is learning from game to game and shift to shift, and we were able to close it out today, and that's a big confidence boost for our team.
What went into you slamming the door early in the third period and getting the most confident?
Just playing our game. We talk about playing in the middle of the rink, limiting their time and space, and they're a really good team. We wanted to make sure that we could stand up against them and show that we're a good team as well. And we just played our game today, and we did it really well. We just we kept clogging up the middle and playing our transition game and playing fast and trying to frustrate their skilled players, and we did a pretty good job today.
We've all seen what Dylan Cousins can do, flashes of his potential. What did you see from him with what he did in the last 6 minutes of the second period?
Confidence, his speed. Like he's got every tool in the toolbox, and it's just a matter of time before he really breaks out and be a star in this league. Like he's a great player, and when he's playing on his game, he's a tough player to play against. And I've had a blast playing with him. He does a lot of things really, really well, and we haven't scored that many lately, but we've been playing some pretty good hockey together, and finally a couple went in for him, and that might be a huge confidence boost for him moving forward. And he was a great player today. Played against McDavid pretty much every shift, and did a great job in that role.
What's the talk like on the bench when 6 penalties? Some of them, I'm sure you guys didn't exactly agree with the calls, but I mean, how did you guys prevent frustration from leaking in at that point in the game?
Yeah, it's tough when there's that many penalties. There's no rhythm in the game for anybody really. Like you're playing with 4 guys on the ice killing penalties and disallowed goals, like the stoppages. It was just kind of a weird start to the game, but we just try to keep our focus and keep doing what we do best. And we know they have a great power play, and if we can kill off those penalties, it's a huge confidence boost for our team. And we were able to do that for the most part. I think they had a couple there, but for the most part, we did a pretty good job, and that's huge for our team going forward.
You used to be teammates with Keith. I'll use a football term. You look like you're waiting in the weeds for that. Did you kind of bait him on that? Did you kind of know he might come across with that pass?
Yeah, I mean, Connor's on the ice. I know a lot of people are looking for him on the ice. He's obviously the best player in the world right now, and why wouldn't you want to get him the puck, right? So we just talk about loading up in the middle and taking away those lanes. And I kind of showed that there was a lane and took it away, and I guess I baited him a little bit. But, just being in the right place at the right time, sticking to our structure, those are the things that are going to make us successful. And that was a huge goal for us. Great play by Cuzzy getting that shot off, and that kind of helped our team propel forward.
Obviously, it's a team effort, but what does it mean to get the McDavid matchup?
I mean, that shows a lot of confidence in our line. It's that's big for all 3 of us. That's a big matchup. That's hard. He's a hard player to play against, and obviously when you get put in that situation, you want to make the most of that opportunity and show that you can play against other teams' top lines. And it's good to shut them down, but at the other end, we were able to get a couple as well. So that's huge for us, and hopefully, if we get put in those situations again, we can keep succeeding.
Do you go in knowing that's going to be your assignment all night, and do you talk about it with the
No, I mean, Coach didn't talk to me specifically. Obviously, when we announced the starting lineup before, that's kind of who they want us to match up with. And then he gave us kind of a heads up on the bench earlier in the first period there. So we just made sure that we did our job, protecting the middle, keeping up with his speed, trying to get in his skin and limit his time and space. And we were able to do a pretty good job of that today. Obviously, he's a tremendous player. I've seen it firsthand. He's going to make his plays whenever he's got an opportunity, but just trying to limit those opportunities and being good defensively, and we were able to chip in offensively as well.
Okay, there is Drake Caggiula down in the media room. Sabres victorious 3-2 over the Edmonton Oilers. Back up here in the press box, Brian Koziel with you. We're going to head right back down. 2 goals for Dylan Cousins, first star. Here he is live.
Go up against McDavid when you found out and they had the trust in you to go head-to-head with him, and you won the battle.
Yeah, it's a big confidence boost for sure. To go against one of the top players in the world. I was excited. I wanted to be up for the challenge, and it's not just me though. The whole team played a great game, and my line mates and everyone. So it was a big team effort in shutting down in the third there.
How did it feel to get that first that goal, especially the way the play went? I know that you've been working with Don and just sort of trying to get to your game lately.
Yeah, it felt really good. Obviously, it was a great play by Jules, transition to get it to me quick, and just tried to get a shot off, found its way in, so I was super happy about that.
Dylan, you said it's a confidence boost. What can this game do for you for the rest of your season?
Yeah, I think obviously it's one game, but I think it shows he can trust me going against the top players in the league. Obviously it's one game, and I know I got to get better every single game, and there's things I can learn from this game and keep getting better. But it's big.
What did you guys do as a line to take the time and space away? Because really, McDavid wasn't a factor 5-on-5 till late in the third period when he became one. But the whole game, you guys had pretty much shut him down. What was successful for you guys as a group?
I think obviously his speed and hands are off the charts. He wants to, he tries to put you into positions where he can beat you. So I think just not overcommitting, just kind of staying inside, and obviously just working hard.
What's it mean for this team coming off the skid that you guys were coming off of and having blown a few leads to hold this one and end that slump?
Yeah, obviously this season we've blown some leads late in the third, and we aren't too happy about that. But there's stuff we can learn every single time, and we talked about that going into the third today. Is don't be scared, don't sit back, just keep playing our game, and it's big for us to end that kind of giving it up in the third late against a team like that.
Speak about your game. What was the offensive game plan going into this game against the Oilers?
Yeah, I think the first thought was just kind of defense and not getting worked by that line, and just knowing that the offense would come from that. Obviously, they're a very high offensive team, so everyone just focused hard on defense and took offense when it came. Not tried to force it.
Well, happy are you guys that you can reward Dustin? He's had a lot of strong outings. He hasn't gotten a lot of goal support.
Yeah, he's been great for us all year. So he stood on his head at the end there, made some amazing saves. So we're happy we can help win that game for him. But he made some amazing saves for us. So we're very confident having him back there, and it's nice to help get him the win.
Can you appreciate the magnitude of this moment to go up against McDavid for the first time in your career? And just your line, and the challenge that Don put on. Can you appreciate what this meant for you and where this team thinks of you as far as you go?
Yeah, if I knew a couple of years ago that my first time going against McDavid, I'd be line matched against him. I don't know, it would have been a little overwhelming. But I try not to overthink and just go out and play. Just try and look at him as any other player, just a guy on the opposing team, and just do what I can to help the team win.
Both your goals were you were at top speed going to the net. Is that something you've been working on that you saying, look, I need to do more of that, and it was successful for you tonight?
Yeah, obviously a lot of the goals are scored right around the net, and I've just been watching lots of video with Donnie, and trying to find ways to I can get to the net and use my speed. Not always skating as fast as I can all the time. So I just try to get the puck to the net and get rewarded sometimes.
Did you have anyone in attendance with the border open?
I had my parents, my grandparents, my cousins, and my uncle. So a lot of people. So it's nice to have a win like that with all of them there.
They fly in from Yukon? Is that where they are?
Yeah, my parents flew down. My grandparents live just over the border. My cousins live just over the border. So it's nice the border's finally open and they can come down and catch some games.
What's the total head count?
I believe it was 9.
Okay, there's Sabre forward Dylan Cousins. 9 family members in attendance, and a good night for him as he gets his second and third of the season. And a lot of that commentary there on McDavid, and I love one of the things he said about not overcommitting. Like, if you go hard at McDavid, he's going to probably blow right by you and make you look silly. So you don't want to, as we've heard all year from Don Granato, you want to give your opponent too much respect. But let's face it, with McDavid, if you try to get too aggressive, he's going to burn you. And for the most part, I thought that line did a really good job containing him. The only time 5-on-5 that McDavid looked like legitimately like the best player in the world was the final 5 minutes. And it seemed like he played 4 of the last 5 shifts, which I think he did. With the timeout in there and the icing in there, he ended up staying out there for quite a bit of time. Now, Edmonton's power play is just unbelievable. I mean, luckily for the Sabres, they only have to play him twice a year. But the Sabres took those 6 penalties early, some of them, again, questionable, but they were able to get that stopped. And Edmonton only got 2 goals tonight, both on the power play. The fact that 5-on-5, the Sabres were the better team, the fact 5-on-5 that the Cousins line beat McDavid's line 2-0 on 5-on-5, that's a pretty good accomplishment. And Kujula sets up Cousins for that nice first goal, and then Hinostroza on the breakaway. Cousins follows it up for the second one to give them ultimately the 3-2 lead. And also, too, let's credit Dustin Tokarski. He robs McDavid with right in front as McDavid's trying to go back and forth with a little deke and all that great quick hands that he's got in the crease with about 6:15 to go. Then on the one-timer on Puljujarvi with about 5.5 to go, that stopped things there. Then he robs Draisaitl when McDavid sets him up with 4:40 to go. And then McDavid came in on a nice rush with about 2 to go, and Bryson knocked him down to the ice. Bryson had his parents in attendance who saw him for the first time tonight in an NHL uniform. So a lot of motivation in the stands. Crowd, I thought, was into it. Again, smaller crowds. I thought it was the largest one of the year to my eyes. 8,200, the official announced attendance here tonight at KeyBank Center, but I'd expect tomorrow it'll be bigger with Toronto in the house at 7 o'clock. Okay, for all of our local affiliates, we're going to say, okay, we are going to keep it here. We are going to have Coach here coming up in just one moment. Okay, we have Coach right now? Okay, downstairs we go. Here's Don Granato live.
Second power play goal. What was the conversation on the bench like after that?
Well, we just wanted to play 5-on-5, so we were the guys were a little ticked off, and they wanted to get back playing 5-on-5. They felt very confident in that realm, and we moved on quick.
Don, what's it like to throw the thought process behind throwing Dylan Cousins into the deep end in a game like this and to match him up against Connor McDavid, in which he also scores twice in the response that he shows?
Yeah, it started, that decision started a couple of days ago. I watched some clips with Dylan, and I finished the clips, and I asked him a question. I asked him if he was ready to play against that matchup tonight, and I watched his body language, and if his body language was different, he wouldn't have got that matchup, but I liked what I saw, and felt he was ready for the challenge, whichever way it went. You don't know why. I couldn't tell you which way it was going to go, but I felt he was ready for the challenge, so, and it was based on that.
What was it about his skill set and plus his line mates that made them the choice?
Well, they can skate.
Yeah.
They can skate, and that's a big reason. We 5-on-5, we were good tonight in that area. We could skate with them, but that was the reason.
Both of his goals tonight, he was at top speed going to the net. Is that one of the things you went over with him? You said you were talking to him and went over some things with him. Is that one of the things you pressed upon him? He needs to play with more speed like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think those guys that comes with some chemistry. I can't take credit for that by any means. Those guys had good chemistry, and they moved as a unit, as a group of 5, and when you do that, you're pacing off each other. You can generate a lot more speed, and I thought, as a 5-man unit, when they were out there, regardless of the D, all the D were good in that realm. But that line in particular, those 3 had a really good couple days of practice, and you could see them building from the Washington game. They had a lot of opportunity in the Washington game that they didn't create scoring chances, but it was opportunity. They were right there, and they followed that up with 2 good practices, and I just felt they were ready for the next step.
You encouraged to see the way that your group responded to adversity in the third period. It's, you guys have blown a couple of leads lately, obviously. To hold on.
Again, it wasn't, certainly in light of the last couple of games, it's great, but we're not carrying the last couple of games or a few games or anything into the game, as we can't tomorrow. unfortunately. They just were in the moment, and the moment called for buckling up and tightening up, but not tightening up's a bad word, but staying aggressive, and they did it. Our guys. So I don't think there was any prove it or they just were. They were hungry tonight, and they thrived on any situation other than the penalty kill. So.
How happy are you to get Dustin on? He hasn't had a lot of goals scored. He's played very well pretty much the whole season.
Yeah, Dustin's been a quiet guy, even yesterday in practice, knowing he started. And I think he's a guy that, we love him because he competes to win, and it hasn't worked out as much as he'd liked, but I don't think that's been his doing at all. He's done his part, and I think the games that he hasn't won, we didn't score enough on our side, really. He's played great the whole season, and it's nice for that reason to see him win tonight.
You've often talked about not having this team not showing fear or having fear. Is Cousins' reaction to your conversation and what this team mostly showed through today, was that a reflection of not being afraid?
Yeah, I've spoken a lot in that light, John, on you have to respect everybody in this game. There's so many good hockey players, but don't over-respect it, where you tense up and tighten up and are afraid to make a mistake and don't play aggressive. And so, I don't use those negatives. You play aggressive, and we want to play aggressive. And, I challenged our guys on that, as I do every day, significantly tonight. And we had a couple days to prepare. And so I don't, it was nice to have a couple days to prepare, because there was plenty of times in that game, like we said in the penalty kill, we could have pulled apart and struggled. And we had it lately. So that was nice to see us plug through, but I think we're a little better rested doing so.
Dylan said that the way he played tonight, he feels that he's building your trust in him on the ice. What do you think his ceiling is, and what do you see in the way that he played tonight?
Yeah, the way he played tonight, he had an amazing game. My trust in him has always been there. Definitely long term. But even in the short term, it's when you, as a coach, you think you don't trust him. It's such a subtlety. Like, if you just tweak this, you're right on. So he's never been far away from success, even though it's sometimes elusive to him. It's just part of him gaining experience. And the biggest thing with me, I want to see him play with confidence, because it's exciting for everybody here to watch. That follows us to watch him when he plays with confidence, and that's the way to maximize. And his ceiling is, I can't tell you where his ceiling is. It's high.
After you put them on the power play for the 6th time, did you finally just tell them, hey guys, this isn't going to work? It's got to end, or did they figure it out on their own?
Well, it's there's two sides to power plays too. It's a tricky one, Paul. It's a tricky one. I'll tell you that. It's a tricky one.
I like to do that to you.
Yeah, no, you got me on that. So
I just didn't know if you said something to him. That guys.
I would say something to him if I felt needed, and they were saying the right things on the bench in front of us as coaches. So we really didn't have to address it. I did address in the second period, in between the second period, that some of the calls that they might have thought weren't legit were legit. So refocus. Stop complaining or being concerned about what the call was. And I told them their responsibility in part to why a call in their mind went against them, to clear that up. So we're not going to play the victim here. It's our doing. Let's go after it. So,
Coach, was this game a way to build Dustin's confidence as a netminder? You spoke a little bit about him struggling.
Yeah, I do think. Well, he hasn't struggled. I think we've struggled in front of him at times. So, but again, that weighs on the goaltender, heavily. And so, yes, I think anytime you win and you have success, it really is a boost, and it will be to him. And again, he deserves it because he's put the work in.
Don, how would you assess the Thompson line tonight?
It was tough for them to get in any rhythm, and because of the power play, penalty kill, a lot of stuff like that, and they were almost multiple times tonight. So when we go back through that film, there's a lot of opportunity that they could have converted into bigger scoring chances or more production. But I love their game. I mean, they stayed on it. They had a lot of intermittent. They're the next line up, and all of a sudden we got to kill a penalty, and then we got to kill another penalty, and it's not easy to play that way. And so by consequence of no rhythm, I thought they played very well.
Thanks, Don.
Yep.
Okay, that is Sabres head coach Don Granato. Buffalo victorious, 3-2. We bring it back up here to the press box. Brian Koziel with you along the Sabres radio network. So a fun night to be down here. The Oilers are a fun team to watch. They fly up and down the ice. Their power play is the best in the world, and it was on display. They scored twice. But 5-on-5, the Sabres won this game tonight 3-0 in that category. So a well-deserved win. Dustin Tokarski, I thought, was very good in the third period, making some monster saves on Edmonton's best prized player. So a win that was well-deserved for him. Now, tomorrow, back-to-back. Can the Sabres handle that? They are home again, no travel. Toronto played tonight. They just won in overtime at home. Matthews got the game winner against Calgary, so they won 2-1. So both teams will have played tonight. Toronto will have the short trip here, and we'll see two probably tired teams tomorrow. But sometimes that makes it fun because there's mistakes, which means there's odd man rushes, and that means there's goals. So we'll see if that ends up seeing what we get tomorrow night with the Leafs in town. And I'm looking forward to seeing, again, more people in the building. I know that some of them are not going to be Sabres fans, but just more people in the arena, more buzz. The Sabres have done a good job this year at home so far. They've picked up points in all but one. Just the one regulation loss to the Bruins. Even the loss to Detroit, that was an OT loss. They got a point. They beat Montreal. They beat Arizona. They beat Vancouver. They beat Tampa. So this building has been friendly to the Sabres here as fans slowly creep back in to KeyBank Center. Okay, for all of our local affiliates, we're going to say goodbye to you. If you want to keep listening to the postgame, go to WGR550.com, or you can check in anywhere on the Odyssey app. And for all of you on Sports Radio 550 on our flagship here in Buffalo on WGR, more postgame coming up. We will get Paul Hamilton's take when we return here. Final score, Buffalo 3, Edmonton 2. I'm Brian Koziel. Thanks for listening. More from KeyBank Center in a moment. Right here, this is the Buffalo Sabres Radio Network.
Minute to go in the period. Nurse down to the corner, has it stolen. Breakaway attempt here, and here we go. Sabres with a chance, and just throws it. Backhand save, rebound, scores! Dylan Cousins!
Dan Dunleavy there on the call. There's your game winner. 50 seconds left in period 2. Cousins, his second of the night. Third of the season, 3-2 Buffalo right there, and that's your final, 3-2, as we welcome you back here to the press box at KeyBank Center. Brian Koziel, thanks for being with us here on a Friday night. Buffalo and Toronto tomorrow. For more on tonight's game, though, let's bring Paul Hamilton in now, get his take on this one. Paul, a big night for Dylan Cousins. You heard the game winner right there, and I know for Cousins, who's a very likable player, fans have to be pretty excited about what they got from him tonight.
Yeah, he was getting to a point, I thought, some of the problems that I was seeing that I was wondering maybe, if when Middlestat got back, if he might benefit from going to Rochester for a little while. But then when you analyze what some of his problems are, some of it is, a 19, 20-year-old body who's just not strong enough. Well, that's going to happen in the American Hockey League too. That's not going to go away if you get pushed off the puck easily. But what he can do is things that, that they work on, getting a lower center of gravity where he's not easy to get the puck off of instead of, leaning out with the stick and those types of things. And, just building confidence. He started off against McDavid, and right from the bat, he was the one that broke through the defense before McDavid did. It was either the first or second shift. I don't remember which. But, it's like right off the bat, he was the superior person at that. I'm not saying he's just the better player, but just for the evening, he was playing better at the time. And, he's not a guy that's going to shy away from confidence and things like that. So, you ask yourself, I know it says, well, why is Peterka down there, but Cousins isn't? But why is Quinn down there? But, Jokiharju was when he was struggling or something like that. And there are just certain players that I think teams believe that are just better off staying put. Development in the American League is great and it's good for most guys, but not for everybody. And, if he loses his confidence, that's one thing, but I think he showed us tonight he hasn't lost that. So it was a good game. I love the speed that I saw. That's something I've seen missing in his game lately. And, the speed that he showed to get to that rebound, the speed that he showed to give Kajula that lead pass up ice over, Kajula was closer to his own blue line than he was the other one, so over 2 lines, almost 3, and just hitting him perfectly and in stride and letting him fly into the zone. And that's the only way you can play against McDavid. If you're not going to be at top speed, you're going to be in trouble. And until what do you want to say, the last 5 minutes where McDavid, I think, played most of the game. He might have played the whole last 5 minutes. I didn't look it up yet, but close to it. That's when McDavid finally kicked it in. But before that, I would say for the first 55 minutes, you didn't notice him 5-on-5 at all. At all. And that's a tribute to the Cousins line.
Paul, how great was it? I love hearing that insight from Don Granato that he said he watched him film with Cousins and basically told him, like, this is the plan, and then kind of, or at least this is what he was hoping the plan would be, and then was waiting to see the reaction. And he said his body language told him that he was ready for that. And I know that some athletes maybe are, as open as others in terms of how they express themselves, but I think as a coach in any sport, like, you want to feel like your player's on board with the plan. You want them to buy in. And for Cousins to, I guess, rally up, I guess I'll use as a phrase there, to say, yeah, you know what, this guy's the best in the world, but I'm up for it. Let's do it, coach, kind of mentality. Like, I like that that Granato shared that thought.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just the confidence that he has in him, and that, he wanted to read his body language. He said he sat down and went over clips with him and then mentioned it to him. And it's interesting how he talks and how he works. Cousins doesn't know that, but he's like, what is the body language? And he goes, if the body language had been differently, he wouldn't have gotten the job. And I just love that. I love the different ways he goes about coaching. And it's different from other coaches that we've had here. But for me, I think it works, and I really like to hear it, and I like to see what they're doing.
Paul Hamilton here with me, Brian Koziel on the postgame. It is a 3-2 Buffalo win. The Leafs are in here tomorrow. We'll get Paul's thoughts on the Toronto in one moment. I feel like I can talk more about Cousins with you all night here, Paul, but we'll move on. Tokarski in the final minutes. The shots with about 8 minutes into the third, Paul, were 3-0 Buffalo, and then Edmonton ends up with 14. And, if anybody watched the third, you could see the last 5-6 minutes, they were all over the Sabres. But Tokarski, in that sequence, he stopped McDavid in the crease with about 6 to go when he was trying to kind of go back and forth and quickly use his hands like we've seen him do before. Then on Puljujarvi on the one-timer at the end of that sequence. Then he robs Draisaitl on a McDavid setup with about 4:40 to go. And then McDavid came in and Bryson knocks him down on a rush. So there were others besides the Cousins line that got it done. Tokarski obviously had a big hand in this. Bryson made a real nice play there with a few minutes to go. So I know the Cousins line is going to be the headline, but there were some other key moments in that stretch that kept the puck out of the net.
They are amazing. I mean, it was past the midway point of the period, and the shots were 3-0 Sabres. And then the Oilers went another couple of minutes without a shot. And then next thing you know, I looked up and they had 14. It was just like, that's the way they are. They're that good, And Tokarski had to make some great saves, and good for the Sabres. Those, some of them, they were able to clean up the rebounds. Yeah, there was one shot. There was some great opportunities, but they popped rebounds into the corner, popped them behind the net. They were having trouble getting out of the zone. They finally got relieved some of the pressure in the last minute, did a little bit better getting out of the zone. But, they weathered that storm. That's what I meant, where McDavid was nothing 5-on-5 until, we got down to those last 3 or 4 shifts where he played most of the game. Then all of a sudden he kicked it into gear. Draisaitl, again, both were good in the power play, but neither one were noticeable at all 5-on-5 until the end. But still, the Sabres were able to get the big saves when they need it. At the end of the game, in the last 30 seconds, they got the puck out of the zone when they needed it. It would have been nice for them to get a little breathing room, maybe get an empty netter. But, that wasn't in the cards for them. And they, as Bulldog says, they got it into the garage, and they broke their losing streak. And full marks for them. They got away with 6 penalties against the Oilers, cost them 2 goals, but then they ended it. Some of them were the dumb variety. Some weren't a penalty. Bryson, that wasn't a penalty. The referee did not see that correctly. But the other 5 I thought were penalties. I thought some were the dumb variety, but they stopped it. It's like, okay, we can't do this. We can't give the number 1 power play that scores at a 44% clip and keep giving them power plays and hope to win this game. And as Granato said, he didn't have to say much. They were taking care of it themselves as a team, and they did.
Okay, Paul, quick thought on Toronto tomorrow. The Leafs played tonight. They won in overtime. So both teams will have obviously gone back-to-back here. What are you looking forward to tomorrow?
I'm very curious. You got Matthews. You got Tavares. Where does Cousins fit in? Where does Thompson fit in? To start the game, it was Cousins against McDavid. It was Thompson against Draisaitl. In the third period, those two were together. And it worked out well for him. So I'll be very curious to see how that works out and, who it's going to be. Both teams are back-to-back, so there's no advantage or disadvantage for them. The Leafs have been hot lately, so, sometimes that leads to good hockey, and good hockey from a sense that you'll see a lot of mistakes because of, guys being tired, and a lot of mistakes sometimes leads to a lot of scoring chances, which is exciting for the fans. So coaches, they don't like it. They don't want to see mistakes. But, with both teams playing tonight, it should be interesting.
That's right. Okay, Paul, thanks. And we might as well say this as well here. We got confirmation we'll have Sabres GM Kevin Adams tomorrow on the pregame. So we're looking forward to that interview. We'll be chatting with him to get the latest on the status of the team. Paul, thanks so much. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, great. Paul Hamilton there. Kevin Adams tomorrow on the pregame. At this moment, we are looking at about 6:15, so that'll be looking forward to that. So tune in tomorrow, pregame show. I'll be interviewing Sabres GM Kevin Adams here on our pregame show. 3-2 the final. Quick update on what's going on here in the rest of the NHL tonight. And we mentioned Toronto on a Matthews OT goal. They beat Calgary 2-1. The other games tonight, Washington beat Columbus 4-3. Philadelphia won in Carolina 2-1. The only other game going on right now in the second, Chicago a 1-0 lead on Arizona. Some other things to get you excited about. Amherst lose to Cleveland tonight 4-3, but Jack Quinn had a highlight reel goal. I tweeted it if you want to check it out on my Twitter handle at BrianWGR. He looked good. So Quinn with a goal. Peterka had a point in the game. Samuelson 2 points. Brett Murray a goal too. And if you want to get even more excited about the young future stars, from Michigan tonight, the Wolverines beat Penn State at Pagula Ice Arena 6-2. Owen Power, the number 1 pick, of course, had a goal and 2 assists. So a nice night for Owen Power. And yes, think about Peterka and Quinn and Peyton Krebs and Samuelson and Owen Power and other UPL and Portillo and others here in the pipeline. And some of them may be here sooner than later. Some of them it may be going to be a little longer than maybe fans are going to be clamoring for. But also, too, Alex Tuck will be here. The plan, at least injury-wise, is within a month or so. At least that's what we're last told on an injury update, is that Tuck could be maybe about a month away from returning to the ice. So good things coming. We've heard that before, fully aware. Does it feel more real this time? Maybe. I don't know. It feels a little bit more real that maybe these prospects are legitimately going to have impact. You got to hope, obviously. And we'll talk to Kevin Adams more about Power and Quinn and others here a little bit more. And the Eichel trade, of course, tomorrow on the pregame show. But for now, as we said, Alex Tuck still out with an injury. That'll make it our injury report, brought to you by Losi and Ganji, Buffalo's workers' compensation and personal injury attorneys, working hard for hardworking Western New Yorkers. Speaking of injuries, too, look at the Sabres right now are without 4 key players. Craig Anderson, out with an injury. Henry Jokiharju, out with an injury. Victor Olofsson, out with an injury. Casey Middlestat, out with an injury. So we mentioned, the youngsters, as I'm envisioning, what does this team look like a year or two from now? Will Quinn be here? Peterka be here? Krebs be here? Samuelson be here? Owen Power be here? Will it be UPL too? And then, take this current team, and you got to put Olofsson back in it, and Middlestat back in it, and Jokiharju back in it, and Anderson back in it. And, trying to figure out a way here, putting all these pieces of the puzzle together here that maybe that the future can, have some good thoughts to it. We know for a decade now it's been a lot of negative thoughts. But maybe finally, with the Eichel trade, official the end of the tank era with Reinhart gone, Ristolainen gone. Turn the page. Has rock bottom been hit? Maybe you hope so. Is the climb up now starting? Let's hope, obviously, for everyone's sake here, for every Sabre fan listening. So Toronto tomorrow here at KeyBank Center. I'll have the pregame at 6. Again, we're looking forward to, at least the plan is to have Kevin Adams on in the first half of the pregame show, so tune in for that. And then we'll have the play-by-play with the Sabres and the Maple Leafs tomorrow just after 7 o'clock. And with that, just after 10:30 here from downtown Buffalo, we'll say goodnight to you. Thanks for listening. Want to thank our crew tonight, Corey Griswold, our network producer back in our Amherst studios. Thank you, Corey, for your work tonight. Crew here at KeyBank Center, Tom Maddy, our engineer, Pat Malacaro, our anchor, Paul Hamilton, our reporter. For the Bulldog on the pregame, and for our game announcers, Dan Dunleavy and Rob Ray. My name is Brian Koziel. I thank you for listening. Again, the final, Sabres 3, Oilers 2. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 6 with the pregame with Buffalo set to take on Toronto right here on the Buffalo Sabres Radio Network. Have a great night, everyone.
Love It or Leave It is an insanely funny, wildly popular, critically beloved, extremely handsome podcast hosted by former Obama speechwriter John Lovett on Crooked Media. Each week, Lovett, that's me, is joined by comedians, journalists, activists, elected officials, and more to break down the latest news with humor, analysis, and light optimism wherever applicable. New episodes drop every Saturday morning. Listen on Odyssey, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen.
Get Macy's lowest prices of the season on specials for cooler weather, like cute boots and booties starting at $27.99. And warm new coats for all, 50 to 60% off. And get cafe-style coffee at your fingertips with select Nespresso bundles for only $124.99, now at Macy's. Plus, get your Macy's order faster when you pick up curbside or in store. Or try same-day delivery powered by DoorDash. Savings off sale and clearance prices, exclusions apply.
Man, there are a lot of podcasts out there.
Definitely. I mean, there's 3 million shows, 50 million episodes, and more every day.
I mean, who has the time to figure out which ones are the best podcasts?
We do. That's who. What's up, guys? I am Alicia Renee.
And I'm Dax Holt.
And we are your hosts of Pod Sauce, a podcast discovery show.
Look at us as your podcast concierge.
We do all the work for you. We listen to the shows, review them,
pick the best episodes, and interview the hosts.
Pod Sauce. Let us help you find your next binge. Tell them where to go, Dax.
Go to podsauce.com.